Jaya Gaura Hare.
Welcome to another episode of TwoMuchWise.
This is the Gita Expedition series where we explore the timeless wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, verse by verse and chapter by chapter.
All that we discuss here is what we've heard from perfected teachers and spiritualists from the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. None of this is our own analysis.
If you're here for the first time, then we recommend that you watch the warm-up series of the Bhagavad Gita where we introduce some concepts of the Gita for the first time.
This episode is better heard than watched. You can hear it while taking a walk, while driving, cooking, or even walking out.
We've had a lot of fun recording this, and we hope that it's an enriching experience for all of you as well. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We're reading from the Bhagavad Gita, first chapter. We'll read the 14th and 15th in Sanskrit and then 14th to 18th in English. Tatha shveter khayer yukte mahati syandane sthitau madhava pandavaschaiva divyav shankau pradatmato panchajanyam rishikesho devadattam dhananjaya pondaram taddamau mahashankham bhimakarma vikodara. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjun, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells. Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya, Arjuna blew his, the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Pondara. King Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell, the Ananta Vijaya, and Nakul and Sahadev blew the Sughosha and Mani Pushpaka. The great archer, the king of Kashi, the great fighter Shikhandi, Drishtadyumna, Virata, the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupad, the sons of Draupadi and others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells.
Jai, Jai. So, continuing this expedition that we are on, exploring the Bhagavad Gita, we are now seeing the other side. Text 14 says, on the other side, who's there? We are now getting introduced to the heroes, to the protagonists of this whole scene, Lord Krishna and Arjun. And they're stationed on their horse, white horses. It's very descriptive how he's talking about it. But there's a certain word here. We saw that how in the previous verses, everybody started playing the bugles, everything. Bhishma Dev played his conch shell. Now we're seeing that Krishna and Arjun have also sounded the conch shells, but there's a word here, very operative word, transcendental. A word that in the devotee circles is oft used, but we use it as if it's nothing because we are so used to it. But out in the world, transcendental is a word that is not very
What is
commonly
it?
used.
What is it in Hindi? Divya? Would that be the right
Divya,
translation?
yeah.
Yeah.
That in Sanskrit it's written Divya.
Okay.
Yeah. So transcendental, you can think about it. Maybe someone can guess ki dental. Does it have anything to do with teeth? Transcendental, dental conscious? No, but no. Transcendental has the first part is actually the part that tells you what it's about. Transcend. Transcend is something that it means. Transcend basically means to go beyond.
Mhm.
Yeah. You have any thoughts on that word, Prabhu? Before I give some thoughts on
No,
the
you
word.
you go ahead. I'm guessing go beyond means go beyond the worlds, go beyond
Yeah.
existence, go beyond the
Yeah.
normal, what you see.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Divya actually transcend means go beyond, literally speaking. But here the word divya is what is divya or divine is what is translated as transcendental, right? And that is why that's what makes it interesting. Conchal is transcendental. How is the conchal transcendental?
Mhm.
If spirit can be transcendental, your prayers can be transcendental, your spirituality can be transcendental, religion can be transcendental. But here they're talking about conchal being transcendental. How can a conchal be transcendental? um, I just want to take you on a ride just to think about whenever you go to a temple and
Mhm.
they offer you a flower, like
Mhm.
the flower from the altar. What do you do with it, Prabhu? How do you treat it? How do you treat that flower?
Yeah, we smell it and we treat it with respect. Like we
Yeah,
smell it and then sometimes we like bow down to it or put it on our forehead.
foreheads.
and
Yeah,
like similarly with the aarti they'll offer, the fire will take
yeah,
it, will bow down. In fact, what
yeah,
I've seen so many people who come to the temple, they'll bow down in front of the altar and then they kiss the earth.
yeah.
They'll kiss the floor. So yeah.
Some people even matha teko and ragdo
Yeah.
naak, and these words actually they literally do it. They
Mhm.
teko their matha, they ragdo their naak, and they touch it to their heads, touch it to their hearts. We all have done this. We treat, just to get back to the flower
Mhm.
example, the flower, we treat it with respect,
Mhm.
right? Even when we smell it, we don't smell it like, "Are, oh, rose, I'm
Mhm.
gonna smell this rose and
Mhm.
enjoy it." No, you smell it like with respect. You don't
Yeah.
you don't think of it as an enjoyment
Yeah.
per se, but you think, "Oh my god, I'm gonna get blessed if I smell this."
Yeah.
That's the feeling that you basically have. Why? It's just a flower, no, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Why are you respecting a flower? It was
Yeah.
If it were a flower that you find outside, you wouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
What is so different between a flower that you find outside and the flower that has just come off the altar?
in
What is
in
different?
fact, I remember being stuck in like a war of uh, many women trying to snatch a flower which came from the altar. And I'm like, "Mujhe chahiye, mujhe chahiye, mujhe chahiye." So I've
Yeah,
been in between like a war. So yeah, but it's an ordinary flower if you see it
yeah,
from the usual lens. But yeah, something makes a
yeah.
difference. Tell us, Prabhu.
Like you said, people are you've been inside that jostle, that
Mm,
where people just go in front and
mm.
just, for that matter, even water
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
sprinkled on
yeah.
you, and even anything, and people jostle to just get
Uh,
just a glimpse of it, just to get a touch of it. And these can be poor people, these can be rich people, these can be middle class people.
uh,
Rich people are jostling for a
yeah,
little flower. Just
yeah,
imagine,
yeah.
they
This
can buy it off.
they stand in queues outside by maybe a
Yeah,
gurdwara or a temple
yeah,
for some khichdi or those
yeah,
bundi.
from
They'll
prasad.
stand, yeah, they'll stand outside. Rich or
Some
poor.
khichdi for that matter,
Yeah,
yeah. But they respect prasad.
yeah,
Prasad leke
yeah.
jayenge, and they can afford to buy this khichdi. They can
Mhm,
afford to get it made at home. They can get the best of it
mhm,
done. But why is this respect suddenly happening, coming off the altar?
mhm,
Because that is where this word transcendental really makes sense, in especially in terms of matter, conch shell and things like that. That's what I'm trying to get to.
mhm.
That how does matter become transcendental? Matter can't be transcendental, because the word transcendental itself basically means which is beyond matter. But conch shell is made of matter.
Yeah.
The flower is made out of matter.
It's
Rice is made out of
when you
matter.
say beyond matter, you mean like uh, it's beyond ordinary things that you can touch and feel, right?
Yeah, yeah. The word transcendental
Mm,
basically means in the spiritual realm,
yeah,
and the spiritual realm is supposed to be beyond the material realm.
yeah.
So anything which is made out of earth, water,
Mhm,
fire, air,
mhm,
ether, this is called panch mahabhut,
mhm,
is matter. And anything that you see outside, in this world, including our own body, is made out of these five things, right? Panch mahabhut. But we inside, which are spirit, soul, that is supposed to be transcendental.
mhm,
That is supposed to be not matter,
mhm,
antimatter.
mhm.
Spirit is supposed to be not made out of these five
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Hence, it is called
Yeah,
transcendental.
yeah, yeah. Many times you
But
hear people say, I
yeah,
had a spiritual experience. I had a
experience. Yeah,
transcendental experience. So it's an
yeah.
extraordinary an experience you don't find in this world. So
Correct.
yeah,
Out of this world.
yeah.
Yeah. Extraordinary, not the ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
So this transcendental conch shell, how does that flower become transcendental? Why is it respectful? Just because it came off the altar? Because the example given to us is, you know this example,
Mm-hmm.
Prabhu, that the rod and the fire example.
Yeah.
That there is a rod, there is a fire. Each has its own attributes. The fire gives off light, heat, all of that, and the rod is hard and cold. But when the rod, which is kept into the fire for a long time, and when it comes off, it becomes red hot,
Mm-hmm.
right?
It
Red
becomes
hot.
like
So
fire.
now, yeah, like fire, it gets the attributes of fire, which is it's hot, giving off heat, it's giving off light, right? Which is the attribute not of the rod, but it's of the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if one element has come in touch with the other element, which is higher,
Mm-hmm.
that takes up the attributes
Attributes
of
of the
that
other element. Yeah.
other. Just like that, a flower which is actually matter, but now has come in on the altar. Who is it going to?
It's going to God.
Just like that, like when food is offered to the Lord, it becomes prasad. When fire is offered to the Lord, it becomes arati. When the flower is offered to the Lord, it becomes prasadi,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes nirmalya, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like that, this, when gets in touch with someone transcendental, when matter like this
Mm-hmm.
gets in touch with someone transcendental, who the supreme personality, the supreme soul,
Mm-hmm.
Shri Krishna, who's on the altar, then when you get it, then it's red hot. It
Mm-hmm.
gets the attributes of
Yeah.
Krishna there, and transcendental attributes.
Yeah.
Hence, you treat it with respect.
Yeah. There's so much we can talk about this. But essentially, going back to where you started, Panchajanya, the conch shell is transcendental because it was
Correct.
in touch with God Himself,
Krishna.
Krishna.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is one of the signs of victory that we are talking about. This is the signs of victory section in the first chapter, that this is the sign of victory, that transcendence is on this side. This
Hmm.
is where on the other side Lord Krishna and Arjuna are standing. Where Krishna is standing, transcendence is standing. Transcendence, wherever it is standing, it is Vijay,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
That's where Vijay
Yeah.
is.
So signs of victory section comes after two sections. The first section was preparation of war. Yeah.
And the second one is signs of
And the
victory.
second one, oh yeah, it comes after one
Yeah.
section. So the second one is
Yes.
signs of victory. Okay. So earlier, uh, Sanjay was telling Dhritarashtra how the battlefield was set and how Duryodhan was talking to Dronacharya and Bhishma, and what was on the other, who all were there on the other side, on the
Yeah.
Pandava side. And now that section, which is also which is also called preparation of war, that section has ended, and we've moved into the next section of the first
Yeah.
chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which is signs of victory. And this is the second sign. One sign we discussed last time.
Yeah.
This is the
Duryodhan's own
second
words.
sign. Yeah. So Duryodhan's prophecy was the first sign,
Correct.
and then this is the second sign. Transcendental conch shell is on the side of the Pandavas. Transcendence himself, Krishna, is on the
Yeah.
side of the Pandavas.
Correct.
I also
Yeah.
find this very interesting, and think that'll be good to discuss this one. The conch shells have names, right?
Yeah.
Devadatta, Panchajanya. In fact,
Yeah.
bows have names. Gandiv, Arjun's bow is known as
Yeah.
Gandiv. I remember from Ramayan, in the court of Janak Maharaj, Lord Shiva's bow is there. It's called Pinak. So
Yeah.
everything has names. It is
Yeah.
personalized.
Yeah.
What is it?
So
Why?
when you worship, people might find it odd. We worship anything. People might think, "Arey, these guys worship anything and everything." They just give names, start worshiping it. Just they worship a cow, animal. They worship this a plant, tulsi. They
Mm.
whatever they find, people ka paid. They just start worshiping it, and people give it a lot of different reasons. No, no, this is for making people civilized, keeping people in line, protecting a river. They start worshiping Ganga, Yamuna.
Keeping
Environment
it clean,
protection.
yeah.
All of what are you doing, like, you don't then people say, oh no, but we now have all of these in real rules, but you don't need to make up these other rules. But no, that's not true. That's not the primary reason. That happens as a consequence that we are living in harmony of nature. Yes, that's what our tradition is, to live in harmony of nature. But it's not because of that we worship them. No. Tulsi Maharani, we worship Tulsi Maharani, we say, right? We Tulsi Maharani. It's not holy basil that
Mhm.
we are basically
Mhm.
worshipping, right? Tulsi Maharani is a personality. Everything, see, we in spirit in the Bhagavad Gita, we are trying to move, ultimately speaking, from the bodily level, going through the level of the body, which is senses, through the level of the mind, through the level of the intelligence, to the level, reach the level of the soul. That is what our whole journey in this whole Gita is. Correct?
Yeah.
I think you also agree on that. That this is what
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
that we're
Yeah.
trying. Yeah. So in this journey, when we even reach the level of, we think this body has a name, Anune,
Mhm.
Prithvi.
Mhm.
We have
Yeah,
names.
and
Then when we
these
go to the
names
level
of
of
these
the soul,
bodies change also, Double K,
yeah,
double G for Ajay Devgan.
nicknames, Nikku, Chotu, Tommy.
Yeah.
uh, we have all these names of the body, but we think that when we go to the level of the soul, everything, all of these things just dissolve away, and they don't remain. Actually, it's the opposite, because on the level of the spirit, there are names
Names.
to each and every single thing.
Mhm.
Hence, on the level of the body, we have started giving names. Actually, it has lessened now. On the level of the spirit, every single thing is conscious, every single thing is chaitanya,
Wow.
right?
That
In the
sounds
spiritual
like
world,
the Harry Potter world.
Harry Potter world, exactly,
Yeah.
like the door you're talking to, pictures you're talking
Yeah.
to, like you're talking to each and every
It's
single thing. But the spiritual world is like that.
the
It
spiritual
doesn't have
world
dead
is
matter.
true. Harry Potter is fiction. That's the difference.
Yeah. Spiritual world, it says, we'll talk about spiritual world later, but it is antimatter.
Yeah.
In material world, there is dead matter, and then there is alive soul.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah.
What
Like
makes
like the
what
table
makes
table table that we're touching right now, that's dead
Yeah,
matter. But you
correct.
and me, we are living, right? We have life,
Yeah.
right? And
What do you think? But for example, we said everything is made out of these five matter. This table is made out of that five matter. This body is made out of
yeah.
those five
Yeah.
things, five matter. What do you think makes the table dead and makes us alive? This body alive?
Yeah, we've discussed it in the warm up series. It's the presence
Correct.
of life, the presence of soul, presence of the
Soul.
soul in the
Yeah.
body. Yeah.
So that basically means that soul is the living
Yeah.
force is the soul.
Yeah.
So this that means the material world, which is made out of matter, is
Mm-hmm.
dead matter, in which some things have soul, which some that's why some things are living,
Mm-hmm.
and those things we're giving name to. But in the spiritual world, there is no matter.
Yeah.
There's nothing which is dead matter, which means everything is spirit, which
Mm-hmm.
means everything is alive.
Person
If
alive.
everything is,
Yeah.
yeah, alive, then everything has a name.
Name. Yeah. Yeah.
So that is what this whole culture is coming
Yeah.
from, that they think on the level of the
So
soul,
yeah.
they're not thinking on the
Mm.
bodily level.
Yeah.
Here, just imagine, Prabhu, we live in a world where even living like people, we are now treating as things.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're now
Yeah.
evolving to that sense, and they're living on a level that apparently inanimate
Yeah.
things they're treating as people.
Yeah.
They're respecting.
I used to always be enamored by these shlokas, when I
Yeah,
initially, and I used to think, like, why are things being named? Over time, I understood the essence, the bit you was speaking about. And I also realized, how back in the day, in the Vedic age, in the spiritual age,
yeah,
things were given respect only when they were owned by great people. But today, people are given respect only when they own great things. Huh?
correct.
Like, look at Panchajanya, the conch shell. It's given respect only because it's owned by Krishna.
Krishna. Yeah,
Look at Gandiva, the bow. It's given respect because it's owned by Arjuna. But
yeah,
today, it doesn't work like that. If you want
mhm,
respect, then you've got to own great things. And
yeah,
you got to have some wealth, some kimti saman, like
yeah,
a black sedan, or a bada
yeah,
makan, or a
yeah,
fancy shiny dukan, or at least
yeah.
a sagan ki theli for your mehman. Only that will
Your
get you
dress
your
and your address.
pehchan, your
Yeah,
dress, your address.
yeah,
So today, it's the focus has changed. For respect, you
yeah.
need to have things, and at that time, respect got your things to be respected.
Like, yeah, you have to be a respect when you're a respectable person. I mean, nobody here even talked about what kind of conch shell Duryodhan was holding, or what bow. I don't know what his bow's name was like. But you understand what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Yeah, we do know, like, sometimes we know Ravan ka kya tha, ye kya tha, but because those are related to historical things. But the respectable people, say, related cheese used to get a lot of respect, and every single thing was personalized. A conch shell, a bow, even when Arjun went for Draupadi's Swayamvar, it is shown, it is said that he's the only one of the only ones, very few ones who actually went with a consciousness, with a mood of respect towards the bow. Like, he didn't go in the way that, oh, I'm
Mhm.
going to conquer you, I'm going to conquer
Mhm.
this bow, and I'm going
Mhm.
to break it, I'm going to string it up, and I'm going to win it. No, humility, and then a lot of
Honor,
respect
respect.
that
Yeah.
he gave, and hence that is the character that actually wins people over, wins situations over, and really makes you a powerful person. Power doesn't come with just strength, with just fame, with just money, with just beauty. It comes with this mood, this attitude of giving respect to others, and that's the culture that they basically trying to show here. That is what is being displayed here.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. What else? There are names of people also. The name
Yeah,
that I like the most, and
yeah,
will choose to talk about is Rishikesha. And the
yeah.
synonyms, Rishikesha uh, is worded
It's
as,
being used for Shri Krishna
yeah,
here, I
it's been
think.
used for Sri
Yeah,
Krishna, and it's been worded as the owner of the senses, the lord of the senses.
yeah,
This is very interesting. When I read this the first time, I was like, what does owner of the senses even mean? Like,
yeah,
firstly, what are senses? Then I had to, okay,
yeah,
understand what are senses from somebody. Okay, so senses
yeah,
are my eyes, my nose, my
yeah.
tongue. These are
The Lord,
senses with which we,
the Lord really goes into the deep study of these things in the
yeah,
second chapter. He really
yeah,
breaks it down, especially in the second chapter. But after that, also a couple of chapters, he really breaks it
yeah,
down. That what are the senses, how they control you,
yeah.
who's supposed to be controlled by whom.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So,
right
so we'll
now,
get to that.
Rishikesh.
We'll get to
Yeah,
all the details of the senses. But
yeah,
like for now, let's just say that as a body is
yeah,
comprised of senses. Two types of
correct.
senses: knowledge acquiring, working senses. We'll get to the details later. But our body is made up of senses. Now, Krishna is the owner of the
Yeah,
senses, the Lord
yeah,
of the senses. Bro, I am the
yeah,
owner of the senses. Like what?
yeah,
These are my senses. I own
yeah,
them. But
Yeah.
Rishikesha essentially is, it's an eye opener. The name
Mhm.
of this Lord can open your eyes, just this one name, uh,
Yeah.
like it did for me, to make you realize that, hey, you don't own these senses. Like, did you make
Yeah.
it on your own? Did
Yeah.
you manufacture it using AI
It
and
was given.
3D on your own?
It was given.
Yeah,
Given to you.
it was given to us, right?
Yeah.
And to realize that we should maybe just think of our own bodies uh,
Yeah.
in their form in the embryo of our mother. Right?
Correct.
That's when we realize, oh, slowly each sense developed,
Manifested. Yeah.
might manifested, and hence I can't be the owner. I was there like a small pea in the womb of
Yeah. I was just
my
there.
mother,
Yeah.
and then senses were given to me, right?
Correct.
So we may call it, okay, nature. The nature
Mhm.
is so beautiful. You'll have these nice videos, a time lapse of the entire 9 months of pregnancy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
where is nature coming from? Nature, Krishna
Correct.
is telling you here, I
Energy.
am the owner of
Yeah.
the senses.
Correct. Yeah. And these names, I think, are very, very important. Names are beautiful. I love names because throughout the Gita, whenever Krishna calls Arjun with a particular name, or
Yeah,
Arjun calls Krishna with a particular name, they'll have meaning behind it.
yeah,
It's not that, okay, Krishna has unlimited name, 1,000 names, so I'm going to use one of them
yeah,
just for variety. Arjun is called with a like Pritha or Kaunteya, or whatever names he's being called with. It's a particular reason with a particular mood in that particular verse. And I think I'm going to look forward to really exploring that with you. That
yeah,
okay, this name, why, क्यों
yeah,
बोल रहे हैं ये वाला नाम,
yeah.
and it
It's
has a lot of meaning behind it.
it's very poetic, but like
Very poetic.
poetic,
Yeah.
it's because that's how they spoke back then, you know.
Gita. It's
Yeah,
it's Gita, the
yeah, it's a
song.
song, yeah. And we often think, पहले तो जंगल में रहते थे, वो भाषा नहीं
Yeah.
होती थी, कपड़े नहीं
Yeah.
होते थे,
Yeah.
everyone was like, they were like nomads, not
Neanderthals. Yeah.
civilized. But this
Yes.
language of this book can tell you that they were much more educated,
Evolved. Yeah.
literate, civilized than we are.
Yeah.
So,
We think we are getting evolving, but we've spoken about this, how that we're actually devolving right now.
mhm,
The caliber, not just physically also, you can see that physically also they have high caliber,
mhm,
mentally they have a high caliber, literally also they have high caliber.
mhm,
uh, all of this was apparently spoken to Arjun in a very short span of time, less than an hour. There's a couple of numbers there, these many minutes,
mhm.
but obviously it'll be not too long, because it's right before the beginning of
Yeah,
a war,
yeah.
and people are not going to wait for days. We can spend our whole lives
Reading,
understanding the
yeah,
Gita, trying to
yeah,
understand it and apply it in our
that's so
lives.
true.
Even then, we might or might not.
Yeah,
Arjun got it like that, and then basically started applying it right then. Caliber dekho Arjun ka, right?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
the caliber of Arjun.
yeah. It's not like
Um,
we went and saw Dil Chahta Hai in the cinema hall, and even today we are talking about Dil Chahta Hai, Amir Khan,
yeah,
Saif Ali Khan. I don't even remember
yeah,
the
we don't
names of
have
the
that
actors.
little
Yeah,
thing here. Yeah, that came, that went. It's
yeah.
gone.
But the Bhagavad Gita is going on, and it's much
Yeah,
shorter
it's
than
going
that
on.
movie. So
Yeah,
Arjun's caliber, Krishna's speech, Arjun's speech
yeah,
as well.
yeah,
So lucky to be reading this.
yeah. Very lucky, Prabhu. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
we've crossed the time threshold. You want to call it a day?
yeah, yeah. We should call it a day, I think.
Okay. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Prabhu. Lovely discussion
thank
today.
you.
See you for the
Yes,
next one. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jaya Gaura